Buddy, this is gonna be an interesting one. What's your Venmo?
Venmo is
or whatever you want to give me.
Shaunyce Omar. So at SHAUNYCE. SHAUNYCE
underscore.
Mm-mm.
Just Shaunyce Omar.
Mm-hmm. All together.
All right.
At OMAR.
And your Cashapp?
Shaunyce Omar. Cashapp is the $NyceSomar.
SOMAR.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got that down. Let me post.
NyceSomar.
Yes. All right, everybody. I know it's going to take y'all a minute to log in. Normally, this is different. I am not at home.
And neither am I.
Yes. This is Intimate Conversations with Danny Terrell, Central District Forum for Arts and Ideas. I'm kind of in and out of the shot. Today, we have Shaunyce Omar, the one and only. And we are at Wanawari, so we want to thank them, give them a big shout out for having us pretty much all day. We've pretty much been here all day today. So big shout out to Salma, to Elishaba, to everybody for having us here. Why are we here today? Because we have been working all day. Mm-hmm. Shaunyce has been filming with CD Forum to do intimate conversations. No, to do Sunday dinner. I don't know what I'm doing right now. We are going to do Sunday dinner online, and Shaunyce is doing a special project with us with Sunday dinner. So that is why we are here today. That's why we've been together all day. And I just like hanging out with Shaunyce, so why not?
We always have fun.
Right, we do. I have fun.
For years.
Oh my God. Yeah, since the church days.
Baby.
When I dropped into the church and was like, who's that child dancing?
Right.
Yeah.
You were like, is that your daughter?
Right. Now I'm like, who's that child dancing? So, again, I am Danny Terrell. I'm here with the multifaceted, multi-talented Shaunyce Omar. My prep stuff is at home because we've been here all day, and we was like, we'll have time to go home, and we realized we didn't. Mm-mm. So I'm going to have Shaunyce read for us her message on what is Black love.
Yes, all right. Black love looks like loving yourself first, loving your spirit, your voice, your talents, your skin, your discernment, your strength, your vulnerability. Black love is seeing yourself as valuable and lovable. And I say that because there was times that I didn't see myself as valuable and lovable. And I didn't show myself that grace and mercy that I would show other people.
Baby.
Yeah. You show
right.
Everybody else would get a pass or a second chance or
right.
Or a reason why things may not have went right, but for yourself, you're so hard on yourself. And I was like, wow. When I got in my 40s, when we talk about 40s, we just talked about that.
The magical number of 40. 40.
Yeah, I was like, okay, wait a minute, I'm all right. I'm okay, and I deserve love too, mm-hmm. And I deserve second chances, and I deserve grace. And first, I got to give it to myself.
Yes. You are an award-winning actor, actress, performer in Seattle. And so a lot of times people don't realize, like, as performers, we are so hard on ourselves.
Oh.
So in your performing career, how have you been hard on yourself, and then how did you turn that around to show yourself love?
Wow. It's still a process. I'm not it's an everyday reminder. Every project that I do, I have to remind myself. So I don't want to act like I'm cured. You have to keep working towards that conversation in your head that tells you you're not good enough, right, or you're not smart enough, or you're not talented enough. I have to work against that conversation. And it is active. That it is an active, like, don't listen, don't fall into that cycle of, oh, you don't sing soprano like the next person on stage, or you don't dance as well, or oh, you don't look the type. You know, and so that's been a long life process. But I think as of lately, I think it kind of started in 2011 when I moved back to Seattle. That's when it really started. I'm not saying I was there at that time, but that's when it started for me, where I was opening my eyes like, you know what? Sometimes you can't control everything.
Right. True. And
you have to live in that moment of time. And then when that moment is over, move to the next moment. And you can't stay, your mind can't stay in that last moment of what didn't happen right and what you didn't do right. You have to keep pushing forward.
Right.
You have to do the best that you can do in that moment. Sometimes my best in this moment is better than my best in the last moment. And sometimes my best in the last moment is better than my best in this moment.
Exactly.
And it you know, like art is so, for me, is so fluid. It moves and changes. Yes, of course, like I want to build upon the skills that I have and get better and better and better. But I also want to be truthful in the art, in the moment, in real time.
Right.
And in order for me to do that, that means I have to bring all of my goodness and my mess to the table, with the art. You know, and sometimes it can dictate how that art comes out. Right. You know, but if I'm being truthful in it, then it's still gonna be right. And I think that's what it was that I wasn't connecting to, that as long as I was truthful in the art, then it was right.
Yeah.
You see, I was connecting, like, as long as I did everything perfect and it sounded good and I sang all the right notes and I remembered all my lines and I did all the right blocking, then that's right.
Nope.
No. As long as I told the truth in the moment through the art, that is what's right.
Right.
You know, and so that took some years, and I'm still, like I said, I'm still learning.
Aren't we all?
It's a process.
I think the thing about art's that, like, if you are an artist, the other thing that people don't understand is just like, depending on your artistic discipline, it will tell you that you are wrong for the way you look, the way you breathe, the way you walk, the way you talk, and that can defeat you. That will defeat the best of us. But it's always something about what you do that draws you back in. So that's why when they say develop a tough skin in the arts, that's really because it is brutal. It is brutal. It's something about living inside of the art that keeps you there.
You don't choose it. It chooses you.
I say that all the time.
It chooses you. Yes. Like it's like, I have talked about this. There's been so many times that I said, okay, this is it. I'm stepping away.
I think we had that conversation last year. We both were talking about that. I remember that conversation.
And here we are.
And we're still doing it. And we're still here.
And we'll be. That's the thing. It's like I've kind of, okay, this is who I am. And this I'm an artist. And it took me a long time to say those words about myself. That I am an artist. I've been doing art since I was a child.
Right.
I've been an artist. Like, when I look back on it, I mean, I started just like a lot of us start. I started in church.
Yeah.
Easter, speech, kids, choir, you know, the baby, little angel choir. I grew up in Curry Temple, just down the street here in the CD.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, down the street from Garfield. And so that was my childhood church. And my mom signed me up. I had one of those mothers who signed me up for everything.
Miss Bobby Sims.
Bobby Sims, shout out to my mama. Hey, mama. She's probably watching. Hey mommy. But she signed me up for everything, even if I didn't want to do it. I remember, she signed me up to be in we had, back then, I don't know if they still have these things, but they're called Tom Thumb weddings. So they're like a fundraiser type of thing. So you get like a 5-year-old and another 5-year-old, and they do this wedding ceremony. And
don't do that to your kids.
I cried. I did not want to do it. Here I am in a white gown with a veil. I was like, and then to my little 5-year-old brain, I thought I really had to marry this dude, this little boy. And it wasn't that. It was just like, no, you're it's a friendship thing, and it's a fundraiser, and people, they would sell tickets, but this is
do not do that to your children.
This is the 70s and the 80s. 70s, y'all.
Right. And if y'all are still doing that, cut it out.
I don't think so. But that's what I'm just saying. My mother, we were so active in church.
Right.
She had me signed up for everything. So I've been doing art my whole life.
Right.
And it wasn't but maybe 5-6 years ago that I started calling myself an artist.
We don't want to claim it. We don't. It's that thing of what I realize, especially when we're talking about black bodies, we don't claim who we are and what we do until it's fed to us enough. We don't step in there saying we are artists, we are presidents, we are this.
We don't name ourselves.
We are doctors. We do not name ourselves. And I think y'all have heard me talk about this before, but it's the episode of Lovecraft Country where she was like, name yourself.
Name yourself.
And that has been something that, like, since I've seen that episode, that has driven me to be like, yes, I can name any parts of myself and who I am. And I think just like that, we don't name ourselves. And it takes us until our 40s or later to name ourselves. And then we look at the younger generation, like, why are you naming yourself? Because
they got it.
And we want to fight with them about them naming themselves.
We got to learn.
Yes.
We have to learn it. That's
yes,
what it is.
Yes.
I'm watching and I'm learning.
Yes. Another influence in your artistic practice, yes, Audra Boo, yes, Hippolea.
Audra!
Yes. Another influence in your practice and who shaped you was Miss Pat Wright.
Oh, yes.
Can we talk about your time with Pat Wright?
Oh, wow. I'm going to start here. I would not be the professional artist that I am right now if it was not for my years with the Total Experience Gospel Choir and being under the tutelage and guidance of Reverend Patronelle Wright. Period. Full stop. It wouldn't happen.
Commercial break. Let me tell you all about that. A lot of times we do not honor the people who have shaped us. I'm so sick of people saying, I did this, I'm self-made. Trust and believe you are not self-made.
Somebody prayed for you, if nothing else.
Right.
Did
and it's not to take away from your artistic talent, but somebody cares enough to make sure that you are working in the excellence inside of your artistic talent. Okay, back to you, Miss Pat, right?
And that's exactly what she did. She cared enough to make sure that I was working in excellence.
Yes.
I joined the choir when I was, I want to say 11, and again, my mother always had me signed up for things, and because of that, as I grew older, I signed up for a lot of things because that was what we did. And so we were at, I want to say it was Goodwill, it was some kind of musical, and I saw the choir, and they were singing, and I was like, oh my gosh, and it was pretty much a young person's choir, and I was like, Mommy, oh my God, I want to join this choir. And my mom was like, oh, well, I know Pat. I'll call her. And
I know Pat.
Yeah. Next thing I know, I was at a choir rehearsal.
Right.
And I was in the choir from 11 until I went to college. And then I would come home on the breaks and sing with them. When I turned 16, Pat, and I don't know what she saw. Again, people see things in young people and they want to cultivate it. But she saw something, and I remember at choir rehearsal, she pulled me out of we were singing a song, and she stopped and said, Shauny, come here. Come stand out right here in front and direct the choir. I had never directed a choir in my life. Now, I had been in choirs my whole life, but I had never directed a choir in my life.
Right.
So I didn't really know what to do. And so she was just like, literally, she stood next to me and said, get your hands up. Da, 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 da. And as the choir was going, and she was like, no, put your hand here and here. Like, literally.
Whoa.
She taught me everything I know about choir directing. I directed from that point, 16. I was her student director until, like I said, I went to college and I would come back home on the breaks. We went to Russia. We went to Australia. I was her director for those things. she opened up a world for me in terms of choir directing.
Right.
I had no idea that I was a choir director, and a lot of people don't know that about me. They know me as an actress and a singer, but I am a choir director, and it is because of Pat. We traveled around the world. We traveled obviously around Washington State, but we also traveled around the country.
Right.
I've gotten so many opportunities in performance just because I was in the total experience and because Pat put my name in.
See.
Literally, because Pat said, Shauny, that's my nickname, Shauny will do it. Shauny can do it. And and the amount of time, the amount of time that we sang, yes, it was a community choir, but we literally sang 3 times a week at least. It was a busy commitment, right? It's a very busy commitment. Every weekend, I remember in December, the only day that we did not perform in December was Christmas Day.
See.
Every day in December we performed, right? And so I was a truly busy teenager, but what that taught me is that, no matter what's going on, we got a performance, you got to be ready, and you can do it.
Right.
And I did. And translating that to 8 shows a week right now.
I mean, this is, and you, because your daughter was dancing with me, Ayana.
Yes.
What's up, Ayana? I think the thing that people don't understand, I've always had parents complain, why are they here so much? Why is this so much? Why is this happening? And first off, it goes beyond the performance, the dance, the singing, the musical, the acting. It really translates into adult life. Mm-hmm. You learn to show up in adult life when you have that discipline in the arts. So if you don't pursue a career in the arts, it teaches you how to show up for your job, whatever your job will be, in a particular way. And again, you have to have those people that believe in you. Those adults that are mentors, our elders, believe in us enough, and also believe in us enough to not put their egos in place and say, Shauny can do it, this person can do it, this person can do that. Mm-hmm. And again, we don't have that enough.
Right. I mean, she the way that she molded us as young people in the choir. She molded us to be performance leaders.
See.
So it wasn't just come to my choir and sing this music I want you to sing. She taught us how to hear, to pick out parts. She molded us literally to be professionals.
Right.
If we wanted to be a professional. And I swear I'm ready now because of that.
Experience.
Because it really was a total experience for me. And I tell people all the time, I did plays and stuff in high school, and theater has always been my first love.
Right.
I tell everybody that theater is my first love. But I didn't grow up doing a whole lot of theater. I did some. I grew up doing a lot of singing because I was with Pat.
Right.
But all of the major professional acting stuff that I did do in high school, the Seattle Opera, the Everett, there was an Everett Opera back then, Ivor's commercial, all the stuff, through Pat Wright.
You better say that.
It was through the total experience. And so it was just wow, okay, even though my first love is acting in theater, I still can do that.
Right.
She still knew that about me and said, okay, we know that this is what she loves, so I'm going to also help bring that together because that is who she is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's and I'm thankful for the people that saw beyond myself.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie. That low self-esteem that I had, I sure couldn't see it.
See, they had that foresight to see beyond themselves. You are a Seattle native. Born and raised in Washington State. You were here, and you moved away to go to college. Mm-hmm. What was that experience like, and what college did you go to?
Southern University in A&M College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Jaguars, baby. Yes, Baton Rouge. Hey, the blue and gold. Ooh, okay, that's you.
Yes.
it was definitely eye-opening, and I was ready. Southern, for those of you that don't know, if you follow me, then you know
yes.
I am always repping Southern. But it's an HBCU, historically black college and university. And I specifically wanted to go to a HBCU because I am a native of Seattle, Washington. A black girl who grew up in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s in this city.
Right.
And I was like, I need to be around some black folks. I need some black teachers.
Yes.
You know, I can count the black teachers I had. And then you add on top of growing up in Seattle, I went to the Renton School District. So we talking about Renton in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s.
Right.
And for me, I just felt like Seattle has always been a very diverse place that celebrated diversity, which is beautiful. So from the time I can remember, even in like first grade, we always had like potlucks and things where they wanted people to bring food from their different cultures. And so we had all of these different things, and we learned all of these different cultural things so that we can be abreast on and be right in the cultural differences of us and celebrate those things. And I think that's beautiful. What it didn't teach me was to be with my own people.
Wow.
So I know how to be with everybody, but if I wanted something all black, it was either inside of my home or Sunday morning at church.
I was about to say church.
Everything else was completely mixed. There and when I say mixed, I don't mean like an even amount of every culture. It usually was not that many black people. Luckily, shout out to Bobby Sims again. I had a mother who. And parents, both my mom and dad, saw the importance of me being around black people and a black experience because I'm in Seattle. So, you know, I grew up in Jack and Jill. That's a black organization. There was an organization called the Young Instrumentalist that my mother had me in. It was an all-black organization where we kids from all over the city, if they played an instrument, every year we would come together and do a recital. We were all black. I grew up playing the cello. Right.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I grew up playing the cello. I played from 3rd grade to 10th grade. So every year I was in the Young Instrumentalist, and that was an all-black program. And my mother took me to see black art when it came to town. Alvin Ailey. If there was a black play that was in town, we went to see that. Shout out to Dr. Tanya Pettiford-Waits. I saw Your Nappy Edges down at the Bathhouse Theater. Okay. Pretty Fire by Charlotte Woodard. Like she made sure that if black art was happening in the city, that I was there. Yeah. My mom she was real big on that. And so those little pockets of time that I saw all black things, I craved it even more.
Right.
So then when it came time to pick a college, I was like, there ain't no way I'm going to no PWI.
Right.
I'm going to an HBCU. You know, and going there, it was different. Like, I had never seen so many. I had traveled, so of course I had seen a lot of black people in one spot. But like at a educational institution, an institution of higher learning like that.
And in Baton Rouge.
You know, Baton Rouge, on top of that, in the city, and then also on
New
campus.
Orleans, not so far away.
Right. I was just like, whoa. And then the comfort that I felt, because every single thing that was happening on that campus, everything was made for me. So at Renton, we had to have a black student union.
Right.
And I remember talking about that on campus, and they're like, why would you have a black student union at school? Well, so the black people can come together and, you know, talk about. And they're like, we all black. We all got this is the black student union. Like the whole school black student union.
Right.
You know, and so that was foreign to me to you know, I was just like, wow, just to see that beauty and then also the look that, you know, black people are not a monolith. Like, when you go on a HBCU campus, well, you ain't gotta go to HBCU. I mean, you just look around the black folks right here, we're all different.
Right.
But you go somewhere where it's concentrated like that, you see how we are all so very different. We're so varied, and we all, unfortunately, we all will face the same type of discrimination and oppression. But But we are not the same.
How we go through that, yeah.
Yeah, and so going to HBCU, that was just like, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, I think. And I think Shaunyce as a person, I think I kind of blossomed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, going away to college like that, I think I kind of...
I will also say, like, being in environments that affirm you, affirm your thickness, your nappy hair, your just everything about you. Again, when moving to Seattle, I realized I was like, oh, I don't see people affirmed. I don't see black women affirmed in a way that. All right, Quentin Morris. Wait a minute.
Quentin.
Yes.
Hey, Doc.
Right.
We went to high school together. He knows, Ren.
Quentin is such a yes. And then Audrey Blue called you an icon in Seattle. So yes. But the affirmation that a concentrated thing of blackness gives you, and again, we all don't think the same. We all don't move the same, but it's something about being in a space where you can go and not be othered.
And not be othered. That's it. Everything was for us. Everything was made. Yes. Even when it came down to the food in the cafeteria, it was for us. Made with us in mind.
Yes.
I had never had that growing up.
Your existence isn't questioned in that space.
No. We're just allowed to exist and to blossom and to grow, and they're constantly watering and fertilizing. Those professors at black colleges, they are watering and fertilizing the hell out of you. And I mean, that's what I needed. I needed it. And I always say, any young person that grows up in Seattle, black young person, they should consider going to a HBCU. I mean,
even for a little bit.
It should cross your mind. Yeah, it really was super helpful for me. It was super helpful.
Right. So there was a point, and we're gonna get into some like little heavy stuff for a second. But there was a point that you had to move back to Seattle. So you went to college.
Yeah.
And then there was a marriage.
Children.
Marriage wasn't cute.
Marriage was cute at first, I thought. You always think. Baby.
So at that point in time, it was Houston, Texas that you were in.
I've been in a few places. So when I first graduated from college, I moved back to Seattle right after I graduated. Okay. And then I ended up moving back down to Baton Rouge to be with my now ex-husband. From there, we moved to Indiana.
Okay.
We were in Indiana for like close to 2 years. Then we moved to Seattle. So this was early on 2002, 2003. Okay. And that's actually when I met Sharon Nyree Williams.
All right, Sharon
Nyree. Sharon and I met. And then from there, I think we lived in Seattle probably about 3.5 years. Then we moved to Houston. And I was there for 4 years in Houston.
Okay.
During that time, my husband and I broke up. Mm-hmm. And I had to come back to Seattle. I mean, I had 3 kids at that time.
Right.
I was a full-time performer and just starting out teaching artists. Uh-huh. I just started teaching then at the Alley Theater. And it just wasn't enough, especially the industry in Houston. The work was not enough to sustain me and 3 kids. And so I moved, thankfully, and gratefully, I was able to move back home. Everybody can't do that.
Right.
And I was blessed
back
to
home
be able to
with
do
3
that.
children.
With 3 children. Yeah, baby. Shout out to my parents. But I mean, the way my parents swooped in is like, okay, we're gonna fix this. It wasn't even a thought like, oh, you
figure it out yourself.
That was not the thought at all. The thought was, my dad was like, I'm coming down there to get you, and I'm coming down there to get my grandkids. Right. And that's all I say. My dad is my Superman.
Did you at any point in time during that time say like, I'm just gonna tough it out? I'm just gonna tough it out, or was it just immediate like?
I did. I did. Okay. So let me tell you how God worked. My kids, because I always had great parents. My parents are great. They've always been great, right? They're great now, and they've always been great. And they've always had a very close relationship with their grandkids. So at the time, my parents, no matter where we lived, my parents would either come visit me for like 2 months so that they can be with the grandkids, or I would send them up for the summer or whatever. So we had already purchased tickets for me to bring my kids up to Seattle for the summer. That was, prior to me and my husband breaking up, that was the plan. So my kids weren't going to be in Houston for that summer. They were going to spend the summer up here with their grandparents.
Right.
And so when things went awry, luckily those tickets were already purchased.
See.
And the way the tickets
y'all, we still here.
The way the tickets went was that I was flying my kids up here and dropping them off, and then flying back to Houston for the summer, and then at the end of the summer, flying back up to Seattle to pick them up, and then flying back to Houston. So what I did was, because I was like, look, I'm gonna try to figure it out, tough it out here. So I flew the kids up to Seattle, left them, flew back to Houston, stayed with my friend Kim Hicks on her couch while I looked for a job. I remember I took the post office test.
Right.
I went to Dillard's. I was trying to work at the makeup counter, and I was a full-time performer, so my resume was packed. Was a performance resume, right? I didn't have like straight jobs really on there. I was still like teaching my little Saturday class, but it really was not enough. So I really was really trying to find something that could sustain me and my kids throughout the summer. And I really didn't find anything that would do it, that would give me the type of lifestyle that I wanted. And we talked about today, like the hood in Seattle is different than the hood in other cities.
Baby, for real.
It's different.
Right.
And so it was just like, why are you fighting this? You need to go back home. You need to go back home. And again, how God works, which I didn't really think about at the time. Seattle is a theater hub, is a regional theater hub. Why am I running from Seattle? And this is what I do.
And you're one of the top performers in Seattle when it comes to theater. Like, let's not get that twisted. No matter what Shaunyce thinks about herself, she is one of the top. Because Audrey Blue called you an icon. Audrey Blue also said, because Shaunyce is full on goals, period. So people are watching you, and people understand the power of what you put on stage, and understand your passion. When we first met, I was like, oh, who is this person? And then you got 3 little children that are just as talented in the ways that they are talented. How do you... So you went through that period of like, okay, what am I going to do? Move back to Seattle. Why not Seattle? And then things started to happen for you in Seattle.
Yeah.
And you still, okay. Yeah. Let me go back to this. Them kids love their dang on grandparents. I can tell you that. And them grandparents, especially Mr. Sims, will fight for them grandchildren. Okay, now back to my question. Let me just say, I've seen it. Like, I've seen they supposed to be retired. They supposed to be not caring about anybody there.
They love the grandbabies, honey.
See, wait, let me look, I got questions, but let me read these comments because they are like lovely. Okay. Quentin, let's be clear. I knew Shawnee in high school as an incredible actress. Exclamation point. Okay. Had everyone crying at school when she was acting at the MLK assemblies. Okay. Written high period. Okay, so people are living for you. What you moved back here, and what was the first thing? What was your thing of like, okay, how am I gonna make this work in Seattle?
Yeah, and I was, again, the first thing, of course, too, was, well, I'll go get a job in the school district.
Yes.
And I did.
Right.
I did. But I also was still, like, trying to act. And I remember I caught a gig from a theater in Houston, but it was for a production in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And so they called me up and they were like, look, you want to go to Pittsburgh? We want you to do this one-woman show that I did in Houston right before I had moved back to Seattle. And I was like, yeah, sure, because the art calls you. You can't...
Right.
you can't, when it calls you, I can't turn it down.
See.
When they called me and said, we want you to go to Pitt to do this one-woman show that I personally loved this show that I did, I was really happy to reprise the role. So I went to Pittsburgh, and that kind of put in my mind, maybe you're not done, and you still have more to give. And then I started being, I think, more brave at that point, because I think I felt like at this point, like, what else do I have to lose? Like, I lost my marriage already. Like, what am I trying to stay pristine for and not? And why am I like going through these motions of trying not to be truthful to myself, you know? And that was the opening process of me letting go of those strongholds of what other people think and how I need to have this look, this veneer of this certain person. Now, make no mistake, I was married to a Muslim man, so it was very much about how, as a woman, I should be, as a wife, I should be portrayed and looked at. And that was an issue in our marriage, that, you know, you're on stage and you're singing and shaking your booty, and, you know, that was an issue. And so, and I absorbed all that, like, well, I don't want to embarrass them. I want to have this family, because women are socialized to believe that we need to have that we are not complete unless we have this family.
That's a whole nother
intimate conversation.
See?
And so, and my mind was there, like, well, I gotta figure it, you know. And so when I didn't have that anymore, and that in the way, I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna be back in Seattle and do this, I'm gonna have to go full hard. I'm gonna stop, like, okay, well, if I catch a gig, I catch a gig, and if I, you know, I'm just gonna, as it comes to me, you know, that's kind of how it was before. Even though I had a diehard passion for it, I still was like, oh, you know, it's lucky if I get one. And it was like, look, if you're gonna be here in Seattle, you might as well go full throttle. You're in Seattle, you know, you're in a regional hub. There's not many in the United States. You got Chicago, Seattle, you know, maybe you could probably say Minneapolis, Atlanta, but they not a whole lot of regional hubs. You know, it's just like LA and New York, and then you got your few regional hubs, and you in between, you're from here. Like, this is your home. You know, so what are you afraid of? You might as well just go full force. And that's when it started, and that was the opening. Like I said, it took a while. It took many years still after that, but that was the first seed. The seed of, it's time to grow. It's time to let go of, to weed out those bad thoughts of what you're not good enough. It's time to let that go and to talk against that language that comes in your mind of, oh, you can't do this, or oh, they don't know you, or oh, you haven't established yourself, or oh, you gotta stop that.
Yes. I mean, and you stopping that, you've won a few awards in Seattle. You've been on a lot of the major stages. You were supposed, well, y'all kind of started Sister Act.
I know.
And I was so excited about that.
We were intact.
Yes. And I was like, yes, Shaunyce, Sister Act. Great. And then COVID happened. Let's see. Sister Act, 4 women. Chicago. Barbecue. Yes. What's the one? Hairspray. Name some more. What else? Quinn said Sadie monologues.
Sadie monologue. The wedding band. Valerie Curtis.
Yes, the wedding band.
I gotta shout out Valerie Curtis Newton, because she keeps me growing. She does keep me working too, but she keeps me growing as an artist, and I love her. And she's not just keeping me growing; she's keeping a lot of folks growing.
I'm sorry to be put my I just raised my hand
We got to give credit where credit is due. Like, and she's challenging us to make sure that we are continuously learning and honing our craft and being truthful in the storytelling.
Valerie will tell you all that when we first met, I thought she was crazy and did not like her because she read me for filth.
Probably quite in her quiet voice too.
Yes,
that's
she
the hard
read me
part.
for filth, and I was so mad at her. And right now, she is one of them people. I'm just like, well, what would Valerie say? Because she read me for filth in the best way possible. So yes, big shout out to Valerie Curtis Newton. Like, if you're in Seattle theater and you don't know who that is, then you missing your entire life.
You need to know.
Yes, you missing your entire life. She keeps a lot of us working and keeping a lot of us
just truthful in our art.
That's
the thing. It's like she is requiring us to tell the truth every time we show up.
Yes.
The truth in the moment. The truth in the moment, and that's what I love. And I've just learned so much working with her. I've learned so much.
I think one of the biggest things I've learned from Valerie is that as an artist, if you are not caring about the storytelling, no, if you're not caring about the story that is being told, because fictional or not, that's going to affect somebody's life. And this isn't anything that Valerie has said in that way, but the way that she approaches storytelling and the way that she challenges you to approach storytelling is that. So again, I had the honor of like being in the room for 4 women with y'all. Okay, so, and people were mad at me because they was like, we didn't know you were working on 4 women.
You were quiet about it.
I was very quiet about it.
I had to come and whisper in your ear, you doing 4 women?
Yes, I was very quiet about it. And so you have to understand that when you have the 4 of you, Valerie, a team of black women, you walk in a room and you shut up and you speak when you are spoken to. Period. I knew my place. I was like, let me dip in and do my little thing and dip out.
Oh, you did big thing now.
Okay.
Strongholds were released during that scene. Don't get it twisted there.
Yes. I mean, but it's the thing of like, when you are in the presence of powerful, especially powerful black women, you know when to quiet yourself and you learn those lessons. And that was my process with you all. Was like, yes, I'm there to do something, but I'm not bigger than what is in this room. And so I was grateful to be in a space where I got to learn. And there was no need for me to talk about what I was doing in that moment. Because even though I was part of the creative team, I felt like I was there to learn something from y'all. So I was a student in that moment also. And I was like, I don't trump was, and you know, people were like, you was, why didn't you? Because it wasn't for me to say it in that way.
It was beautiful.
What was that experience like? I'm trying to do time, but what was that experience like with 4 women?
Oh God. 4 women is.
Somebody said 4 women slayed me. The way.
It slayed us on stage, and it's hard. When I talk about 4 women, I never know what words to put to it because it was so many layers. And the process was I can't believe that we put that work on. I'm still like amazed that I was a part of something that was so strong and so capturing of souls. It
was spiritual.
It was very spiritual, and in order for us to do that show, that production, to tell that story, let me say that, in order for us to tell that story, we really had to lean on each other. We really had to hold each other up, use each other as a crutch, as a sounding board. And make sure that
Brittany, Portia,
Shantina, and
Valerie, yourself,
and Deidre.
Deidre, shout out Deidre.
Shout out Deidre is our directing assistant who literally was there to nurture for real. Like we come out of that process some days just bruised and bleeding, right? Just like, and Deidre would be there just like to nurture us. Like she has such a nurturing, loving spirit, and we just needed that warmth from her. I don't know if she knew how much she helped us, like in that way, just made us feel like it's gonna be okay. Conjuring up that those events and those spirits, takes a toll on you mentally, and physically and spiritually, and literally by the end of the play, when we're in the recovery, in the freedom, in the finding ourselves, in the naming ourselves, literally naming ourselves at the end. I so look forward to that part because I would get to mend all of the ways that I had to tear myself down throughout the process of the evening.
Wow.
I had to rip. I had to rip my soul apart every evening. And by the end of the play, I was so ready to shake it off with the choreography, to shake it out. And I was ready then to claim the power in me and to name myself. And I look forward to that every night, to that healing, because of what the top to the middle did to us all. And I would do it again. I don't want you to think that this emotion and these tears are like, I would do it again because I know that we touched some women, some black women.
Yes.
And I know that somebody was freed. So I would do it all over again. I would do it all over again. But it was hard.
I will say,
it was hard.
I went to opening night and closing night. And it was something in that dance closing night. I was like, what? It went on longer than what it was supposed to go on.
We couldn't let it go.
I was like,
we couldn't let it go that night.
I think my husband was next to me. It was just like, I was like, I just did a circle. I was like, just move in a circle. But it was something about that again, you felt every single black woman and girl in that moment. You felt them. Throughout that entire process, you felt them. And you are raising two young black women now.
Yeah.
How do you get them to feel themselves and to name themselves?
Well, that's hard.
There's been some struggles, people. I know the daughters.
They are teenagers.
Well, one's an adult now.
One is an adult now. And she names herself.
I would say, because she'll be like, I'm not a teenager.
You're right. She honey, that confidence. She names herself.
Yes.
I have to say, though, I think the one thing that I did with my girls since they were babies, since they were little, was tell them that they were smart and that they were beautiful. I knew that language, that affirmation was important for them to hear from me on a regular basis.
Yes.
They get tired of hearing it now, right? But I knew that it was important for them to hear because I knew that the world was going to tell them opposite.
Colorism.
I got chocolate babies.
Yes, I was about to say, that's the first thing.
Yeah, I got chocolate babies. And I knew that the world, thank you, I knew that the world was going to tell them the opposite of that. And I did not want that to be the only narrative that they heard.
Yes.
I wanted the first narrative that they hear is I'm kind, I'm beautiful, I'm smart. Do you know what I mean? That is the narrative I want in
just
their
worthy.
They're worthy of love, worthy.
Yes.
And I have to say, like, my girls both have a lot more confidence than I had coming up. Especially my middle child. She,
oh, Isis.
You know,
me and Isis battle. So
when you name a child, you got to know. But you name your child.
I love Isis, but woo!
Honey. But I had to learn when Isis was in middle school. Mommy had to learn that, she just knows who she is.
Yes.
And she is in touch with her feelings and not afraid to say,
Yeah.
this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And so I was like, she wants that control over her person.
Right.
Okay, I got to find a different approach in how I talk to her because try to strip the control from her. What she perceives as stripping the control from her is not going to do it. Mm-hmm. It's not going to work.
No.
And so, yeah, she has taught me so much about just like being who you are, loving yourself and being true to who you are. She literally, that one has taught me that.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. And I literally, like, I take her guidance on that. You know, sometimes it's like, but I've had the experience, so I know best. So no, don't do that. Like, we had a fight last night about some clothes, and I won.
Well, but, you know,
and at the same time, I still love the way that she will double down, and she feels that who she is and that she is valuable and worthy of having or feeling good, having what she wants.
Right.
I didn't grow up feeling like that. I didn't, like, everything that came to me, I felt like I was lucky.
Oh.
And like it probably never happened again.
That's a lot of our stories.
And just to be happy it happened that one time.
Right.
You know, and then I would confuse that with, well, you just being gracious and gracious about it and humble. I didn't think I was worthy. And that's just the end of it.
Wow.
You know, that's just the realness of it.
Right.
And so when I see her, I'm just like, wow. Like, she is teaching me that important message. And I wish I knew that back then. You know, and my journey is my journey. It is what it is. But I'm glad that she understands that at this age and is not trying to learn it at 40, 45. You know what I mean?
I feel you,
Yeah.
And big shout out to Nate, your son. We can't forget, because if he watched this, I know
you'll be like, you didn't mention me. Did you tell him I played basketball? Did you?
Yeah. And what is he teaching you? Because he's the youngest.
He is the youngest, man. He is, you know what? He is teaching me, even though the girls try to teach me that, but I didn't listen. He is teaching me not to take things so serious and get in my feelings all the time. Like, I'm a dramatic person. Like, I love dramatic arts. Like, I love the drama, you know what I mean? And I'll get in my feelings quick about things, you know what I mean? And he is teaching me that you can have jokes.
Yeah.
You can have fun, you know, you can loosen up. He's so, like, easy going. It's beautiful to watch. He's not, you know, we like to stereotype our black men as angry.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky. He just loves life. He loves his family. He loves being, you know, like COVID, the kids aren't happy about being in lockdown and COVID and stuff like that, but Nate's a homebody. Nate, like, I'm like, well, Nate, do you at least want to go to the store when we get out of the house? No, it's right here in the house.
Right.
I'm like, he's so, just like, he's always been like that, just real.
I love it.
Yeah, and at the time, when me and my husband broke up, he was 2. So, like, literally, he helped me through that process. He was so, like, easygoing and then sweet and loving on me all the time. Oh, mommy, you pretty. Kissing and hugging on me. It's just like, it helped me get through that process of my marriage falling apart.
Right.
And so what I didn't know when I was pregnant with him, that God, you know, God foresees, you know, this is foreshadowing, but he was going to be what I needed. I needed Nate. I needed to have that very visible love coming at me. Right. I was pretty broken up, you know, about my marriage. And so that visible love always in my face, you know, he was just showering me with it all the time.
I love
you know,
that.
so I didn't have time to, like, be depressed.
Right.
Because he was always telling me how beautiful I was and how much he loved me, and you know what I mean? I mean, like, always. Right. And I was like, wow. You know, so
the power.
Yeah, I had no idea when I was pregnant that I was gonna that he was going to he was saving me through that. And I hate to put that responsibility on a child. Right. You know, but that's just
children are medicine.
That's just what happened. Yeah.
Children, I mean, you know, and it's not, I don't even think it's putting responsibility, but children, and I think our children and our elders are just medicine. Period. And we may not understand that until we understand the lesson.
Till you get the lesson.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, why are they talking to us? We're talking about the elders. Why are they talking to us that way? And then we go like, oh.
That's it. Yeah.
Why is this child always, oh.
Yeah. And the blessing I have, too, is because I have my parents and my children. My children are blessed because they have me, who's probably a little less conservative as a parent.
Right.
And then my parents who have that more conservative wisdom, so they're getting the best of both worlds.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's why I got great kids, because they're being raised in the house with my parents.
Your parents are bomb, period.
I got good parents, man. I got good parents.
I mean, I will have to say, like, just, first off, y'all are just family to me, period. So, that's just it. But your parents are definitely, like, some of the best people that I've ever met in my life.
They're good people.
They are just good people.
Just good people.
Period. So, again, if you get to meet that family,
thank you.
They're just good people. We are coming close to the end of our time. Ancestors speaking and teaching through both. That is so true. Aljabu, yes.
Thank you. Yeah, let me be a vessel, Lord.
yes. Look, y'all got some real beautiful gems from Shaunyce Omar. Y'all can see the Venmo and the Cashapp. Y'all know what to do. Y'all know how I like to do it. You pass that love along with some change. $5 goes a lot of ways.
Yes, it does.
$500 goes even further. I'm just saying.
Yes, it does.
What is next for you?
Actually, I am supposed to be filming something this week with the Fifth Avenue.
If we don't get locked down again.
If we don't get locked down. I'm like, I heard about that. I was like,
right.
So, you'll see that coming up. I just did. Everything is online, obviously. I just did the Juke Joint gala performance with my friend Jarvis out in Burlington, Vermont, at his theater, Jack Productions. You can find that online. Let's see. That's coming, obviously, online. I'm still teaching. I probably teach some of y'all's kids. Teaching theater. I love it. And then, it's 2020. I don't know.
Right.
We don't know what's coming, and everything is kind of up in the air. I've been blessed to still do remote work in terms of theater.
Right.
Still, performing remotely. I hope that continues. If we continue like this.
Right.
I filmed this morning with CD Forum,
yes,
so check that out.
Seeing that soon. Yes.
When Sunday dinner comes. When does that start?
Don't ask me because we in the middle of COVID. We just putting stuff out there.
Okay, but you'll be ready when you're ready. You're gonna be ready. You're gonna open it when you're ready.
We're not trying to. I was like, forget timelines. We don't know what time it is. Yes.
Well, and next week, who's gonna be here for Intimate Conversation?
Yes, I was just about to get into that. Next week, we have Brian J. Evans. He has been doing a lot of work with CD Forum. Currently living not in Washington State anymore. Next weekend, we were supposed to have Showing Out, but that is canceled. It's postponed until further notice, which means we will have a show theme coming up real soon. But again, COVID is a bitch. Let me just say that. So we have to move some programs around. We're almost down to the last question. The last thing I'm going to say is something that I forgot that I was going to say. Oh, Wanawari. Thank you all so much. We are here in the space. I'm so glad that we were able to sneak upstairs and they have been so gracious. Me, I was like, I want to do all my intimate conversations somewhere. Wanawari, we may have to, I know Alicia been watching, so I may have to sneak in here with some more people. Sometimes you gotta get out your own house. If we ain't in shutdown, right? If we ain't in shutdown. My last question for you is, what is your joy? We got about 30 seconds.
Whoo!
I know that's a big question.
Right now, I'll tell you what, I know it's a big question, but I'm going to simplify it to right now. My joy has been making these earrings. Literally.
Wait, you You gotta show them.
Literally, I have been making earrings since, we've been in shutdown. That's what has happened since the shutdown.
Yeah, just want y'all to see. How can folks get some earrings?
Instagram, hit me up in my inbox on Insta. I am trying to put together an Etsy shop right now. Getting some pictures together, so I am definitely pre-marketing. But I do have some stuff, and I am still selling it. And a lot of people just inbox me. I send them some pictures, or I talk to them and try to create something around about that they might like. But that literally has been. I didn't know that I could do that, and it's beautiful. Yeah, it's been keeping me kind of like. Yeah, in a good headspace.
That's awesome.
Making something tangible that has an aesthetic of beauty, and then it makes me feel good because I'm an earring person anyway. It makes me feel good to wear earrings.
Love it.
And to see other people in my earrings and in my designs. Now that's joy. Like I'm like, you're wearing my designs.
Yeah, I love
that's joy. Yeah.
That's it, y'all. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Shaunyce Omar, again. We've been spending the whole day together, so I feel really good. Since 10. So I feel great. Letting your creativity manifest in multiple ways is so good for you. Yes, it is. Yeah. Audra Boo, we love you also. Again, check out Shaunyce Omar on Instagram, Facebook, all the things. Hey, Marlon Brown. Thank you so much.
Are we shouting out the black women stuff?
Oh, let's shout that out. Quickly.
Malika Oyetiman made this mask for me. Ebony Frazier made this sweatshirt for me for my locks, honey. Yes. And then, of course, I made the earrings. Yes. And then the bag I carried today.
Yes, there was a bag today by Mary Roderick. Your church member.
Yep,
who also makes some of my clothes. So
we did black women business today. Seattle black women business today.
Oh, and we went to Joyce's Market, which is another black owned. So I'm just saying, today was Black Women Day.
And Cortana.
Cortana Coffee Shop. We went there today.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
we're supporting our sisters today.
Yes, we're in Wanawari. I can never say it. I can't say it.
Wanawari.
Yes, I gotta say it slow. But anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in. I love doing these conversations, but I love it when we can do it in person because
it's
the energy. This is my sister right here, so
yes.
I'm so glad that we were able to do this in person. We were trying to figure it out. We was like, let's just do it.
Yep, we're here.
Right? I ain't got all my fancy stuff, but you don't need fancy stuff when you are in great company.
Yeah, and when you're in the truth.
Yes. Anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We will talk to y'all later. See y'all next week.
Thank you, City Forum. I love you, Sharon.
Hey, Sharon. You're welcome. Thank you. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all later. Bye.